Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Mizamani G, trying to review the latest horror movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yes, he's no longer your silly old bear anymore.
Don't fuck with them hoes.
Now, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is a 2023 British independent slasher film. It was written and directed by Rias Frank Waterfield, based on the Winnie the Pooh books by Alan Alexander Millie and Ernest Howard Shepard. Now, the film stars Nikolai Leon, Craig David Dowsett, Chris Cordell, Maria Taylor, Natasha Rose Mills, Emmer Dawthorne, and Danielle Ronald. Now, the movie follows Pooh and Piglet as they go on a rampage after Christopher Robin abandons them for college. Oh no, what did you do, Christopher Robin? Now, my horror fans, I know what you're saying. What in the world is going on here, Monty G? How can anyone make a horror movie showing a beloved children's character killing people? Shouldn't the filmmakers be worried about getting sued by Disney? Ooh. Well, to make a long story short, and I'm pretty sure most people know by now, the rights to Winnie the Pooh and all the characters from all those animated films Disney broadcast fell back into the public domain last year. So it didn't take long before horror film producer Scott Jeffrey would go on and start production of a horror film based upon the characters that were created by British author A. Millie and the artist E.H. Shepard. Yeah, they were the true creators of Winnie the Pooh, and Disney bought the rights to them, I think, back maybe in the late or mid 1920s. And they eventually started broadcasting all the animated films. And like I said earlier, they've simply lost the rights to all those characters last year. Now, Scott would go on and hire Frank Waterfield to write a script and to also make his directorial debut for this horror film called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, the film begins with a decent prologue which shows how Christopher Robin befriended a group of strange creatures. Winnie the Pooh, Pegling, Eeyore, Rabbit, and Owl in the 100 Acres Woods. Yeah, strictly coming right out from the source material. Now, after leaving to go off to college, the creature would eventually start to starve, since Christopher Robin was the only one to feed them, which made them feral and develop a deep hatred for anything human, especially towards Christopher, who they felt they abandoned them. They eventually will go on and eat Owl and Eeyore and eventually Rabbit, and then you only have is Pooh and Pippi on the only two left, and they're pissed off at what Christopher Robin did. So 5 years later, Christopher Robin returns to 100 Acres Woods, only for Pooh and Piglet to kill his fiancee Mary and then drag him back into the woods. And then later on, a group of 20-something college girls, Maria, Jess, Alice, Zoe, and Laura, they rent a cabin in the 100 Acre Woods and, of course, draw the ire of Winnie and Piglet. And that's basically what the film is about. Now, I really don't fault Scott Jeffrey for wanting to cash in on making a horror film based on a popular children's icon like Winnie the Pooh. I'm pretty sure most of you people know or might have grown up watching, might have even read the books or even watched the old Disney cartoons. I mean, but look what's been happening with other fictional characters that were either based on children's books or fairy tales that have all become horror movies. I mean, you have 2011's Red Riding Hood that stars, was it Amanda Siegfried? You have 2013's Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, which stars Jimmy Amerton and Jeremy Renner. And then you have The Haunting of Helena, which was the Tooth Fairy. So you have all these children's novels, icons, or fairy tales all becoming horror movies now. And of course, you can't forget 2019's The Banana Splits movie, which was based on a popular TV children's show from the 60s. Yes. So anything that's part of the public domain now, and it's probably a children's icon, is being turned into horror movies. We'll talk about that later. So I really don't have a problem with Jeffrey taking advantage of these characters and turn them into vicious killers. Hey, look, if you can do a decent job, then you can actually make some money off of this. Now, does Scott and Rias make a good first impression with using these characters? Well, I did like the premise, and I like how Rias Frank Waterfield incorporates the characters from the source material to fit this narrative. The movie is simply just another long line of slasher films that we've seen before, so they failed miserably. I mean, by the time the prologue is over, which takes about, I would say, about a good 20 minutes, we fall back on your typical slasher film setting and story. I mean, the main problem is there is no character development with any of the ladies. Maybe with the exception of Maria, who was dealing with a stalker, but that's never explored by the time the ladies get into the cabin. They might bring it up once and again, but they never explored that aspect of Maria. No one knows anything else about the lady characters at all. I mean, to honest, I would prefer to see more Christopher Robin, as that's the only good thing this film does. I mean, it really would have been interesting to see how he met these creatures when he was little, explored more a relationship he has with them and the sadness the creatures go through when he leaves the woods for college. I think that would have been a better way to present this movie, show that aspect of Christopher Robin. What were these creatures like? Could they talk? You know, why was Christopher Robin not afraid of them? Why did they not attack him when they first see them? I mean, that's would have been a much more interesting story. Now, while I haven't seen many of Scott Jeffrey's films, but what I understand and from what other people told me, this movie plays right into the other films that are other horror films that he has produced. I mean, the acting is flat and boring, as none of the ladies can bring any life to the script that Reyes has written here. I mean, they're just there. One woman, I think her name is Laura. She seems to be she seems to be the only one that I would say she's into some type of webcamming. She's a real sexy one, but that's about it. We really don't get anything else about any of the other ladies here. Now, I will give Nikolai Leon credit for trying to bring some life into Christopher Robin, but unfortunately, he's hampered by Raya's script as well. He does what he can. You feel sorry for him because he truly wanted to believe that these were the same creatures he left. And unfortunately, once you realize his mistake, he apologizes. We can see the agony that he's going through. So you really got to give him credit. I mean, at least we do get some decent kills in the film and along with some nice practical effects. However, I believe if Scott had a bigger budget, perhaps the actors playing Winnie the Pooh and Pooh wouldn't look like men just wearing masks. And the masks are not good as well, neither. I mean, I understand you have to work what you work with when you have a limited budget, but he could have done a little bit better than what we saw in this film. So, and what could have been a decent horror film that started off pretty good simply ends up being another poorly made slasher film that has dull characters and a lackluster ending. So I'm going to give Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey only one out of my five bloody gold coins. That's only one. As like I said before, the premise was decent, and then it just falls back into the typical slasher films that we've seen before. We really don't care any about the other characters. Some decent practical effects. We do get some nice gore and some nice kills, but unfortunately, like I said before, I don't know what type of budget Scott and Reyes was working with here, but obviously they were limited in their budget. But I think they could have did a better job what we have. And unfortunately, based upon how the film ended, there's going to be a sequel. Maybe he might improve. Who knows? And also, just to let you guys know, unfortunately, Scott Jeffrey, he's not finished yet. I believe he's working on a Peter Pan horror film and a Bambi horror film. So, yes, those. I think those two properties also hit the public domain, so he snatched them up and say, "Hey, look, I'm going to make a horror films out of those too." So be prepared for those horror films. Maybe he might learn from his mistakes, and those might be way better than this one. So there you have it, guys. That's my video for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I hope you guys did like it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share because it really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. Have you seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? What are your thoughts about it? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. I see you in my next video. You guys stay safe.